I did not actually submit one essay. I actually submitted 3, just for this one award. I actually submitted more if you're counting the other ones too. I submitted 3 works. First one was Dust Bunnies and Wolves for Environmental Reporters. Second one is Imbalance from Objectivity. And if you're curious from the title about what those are about, too bad, I don't have time to read them. This third one is titled When the Press Squashes Skepticism. I'll be starting from the middle, but what this essay is about a news article that I just found. It is titled New Study Blasts FDA for Allowing Human Testing of Risky Artificial Blood. It is by Joseph Reed from ABC's investigative team, and well, how about I just read a bit from the middle? Journalists need to understand that many journal articles are not for immediate public consumption, but for other experts to verify. Since scientists do not write for a general audience, it is not their job to provide all the years of education needed to understand their results. This means that reporters should always seek outside expert opinion in order to get the full picture, because there may be uncontrolled factors of which reporters and even the researchers themselves are unaware. Although journalists have the pressure of beating competitive news media, the push for the news peg can bypass the important process of peer review in science. Without independent verification, there is no defense from the danger of mass misinformation. While the greatest scandal make the best news, they also deserve the most caution before reporting. The article, which this essay discussed, is one example where the rush to the press had pushed aside healthy skepticism. There are no outside perspectives in this article. The only perspectives that are not from those involved in the study are from the sides being scandalized, the FDA and the makers of artificial blood like Polyheme. Without an outside perspective, there is no neutral expert to act as a guide for the average reader, not to mention the journalist himself. Although it may seem that the authors of the study are at fault for exaggerating the dangers of artificial blood, much of the fault lies in the journalist. My guess is that the journalist thought that he should trust the experts, since they know more than he does. Yet, even if the experts wrote a perfectly unbiased paper, the journalist still should have been skeptical of the findings, since his own interpretation of that paper could be wrong, rather than the paper itself. In this case, the ABC article emphasized the dangers of artificial blood, while the focus of the study was actually on the ethics of how clinical trials study artificial blood on patients without their consent. Furthermore, the article puts the first half of statements from the defending side in a way that can be misleading. The only statement from the FDA paints it as something that caters to big business without mentioning why the FDA chose to allow the risky human testing to proceed. Another statistic provided by one company that makes artificial blood is out of the proper context. While using that statistic to demonstrate the higher death rates of those given artificial blood, the article fails to point out that they are from a non-randomized trial, not discussed in the study that blasted the ethics of artificial blood testing. Although the death rate was higher than with real blood, my understanding of medical testing tells me that doctors may have used artificial blood only when they did not have real blood readily available in the emergency room. If that is the case, then the delay in administering artificial blood may explain the slightly higher death rate due to the time it takes to check blood supplies. The article also failed to mention that the Polyheme statistics were well within the margin of error of that trial. In addition, considering near 9/10 of patients given Polyheme survived, a good question to ponder is how many patients would have survived if they did not receive any blood at all, artificial or real. I'll end this essay before I keep going. It does keep going for a few more minutes. I originally thought that I would have a copy of the essay in front of me, and it would have been in color. I actually had the essay, or the article that I was talking about printed out in front of here, or I thought I did, and it would have had like color-coded arguments, or color-coded showing what argument, like the part of the article that's against the makers of artificial blood, and the part of the article that supports it, and if it was in color instead of this gray and more gray here, you would have seen pretty much this entire page either in orange, which means a statement that attacks artificial blood, or teal, which means a statement that's misleading. Only in this small second page do you see two little pieces where it actually supports artificial blood, and that, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of unfair.